We're at 936 York Street in Covington, Kentucky, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. Going through the clean out in the PVC stack in the center left part of the basement. Going to go down through this stack and expect it to turn into clay once we get out a little bit. And we're going to try to inspect this all the way to the main, looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, stuff like that, just anything we need to call and note to. But we are going to see what we can get done here. I'm going to have to pause for a second and go out and get a piece of equipment to put on the end of this camera. Alright. Okay, I got the piece I needed for the front of the camera. Gonna have to try to rinse the front of this thing off here so we can. There we go. Okay, so you can see the clean out we're going into. Hoping we can get this all the way out to the street here. So there is some PVC under the floor, and then as expected we go into clay line. This is normal for the age of the house. You can see a little bit of water sitting here. That's very minimal. The camera is only maybe a half an inch off the bottom of the pipe, and it's a 6-inch diameter pipe, so that little bit of water is not much of a concern. It's pretty normal. Because these lines, when they're inside the house, are relatively flat. So usually once you get out of the house a little bit, the pitch gets a lot greater, so the water tends to flow a little better. So far all this clay here looks good structurally. Now we're going to get some goo on the front of the camera. That's great. So hopefully what we can do here is get a little bit of water to, there we go. Alright, so this here, I'm going to pull back a little bit so we can see that last connection before it. Okay, so this looks like they used on the old pipes, a lot of times they wouldn't use fittings. They would actually just kind of rotate the pipe inside the connection to make turns like this, and it looks like that's what this is. It's making a pretty hard left turn. Now, would be something to watch, but right here there's not really, I don't see any major gaps or anything as far as seeing the outside dirt. Water is not sitting in this section at all, but it is something to watch, because if you use the wrong material, if you're not using just toilet paper and stuff, you could have stuff sit in this spot and back up. Same with this, there's a little bit of water here, but it looks like things are overtaking it, where the pitch is enough where the water's sitting there, but once you get some water in there, it takes any solids or toilet paper and takes it up over this lip. I don't see any real build up here, any indication that this is backed up before, but it is something that it looks like they did again, tried to turn the pipe down, and so they just kind of slid the pipe around in the connection. Let's see. This one looks like more of a separation. It does not look like it's obstructing flow. The flow does seem like it's going by, but it looks like there's a little more exterior intrusion, some mud or something coming up, or getting in a little bit there. We'll locate that on the pullback just to be sure, just to make a note of it. But what I'm looking for usually when you see an indication of a backup, there's stuff all over the pipe walls, and there will be solids built up in this spot. I don't see that, but I can't be 100% sure this wasn't cleaned yesterday. Okay, so I'm trying to continue here, and here's another pretty big offset, and it looks like they were turning the pipe to get it to the main, but it's not super uncommon to find things like this in pipe this age. The pipe doesn't look to be cracked or anything, which leads me to believe that maybe they were just turning the pipe, and this may have been this way for a long time, and it's just kind of opened up a little bit. But again, just something to take note of. I don't see a whole lot of solids in here again, but with enough pitch, that would, normal things would just overtake that connection and be able to get all the way to the main. But again, something to pay attention to. And then we're going to see if we can get past the spot. There we go. And this connection looks like we do have some intrusion. There's another offset. I think these are out in the street, so you may be able to call SD1, the sewer department here in Kentucky, and try to get them to look at this and see what they feel about fixing this. But if you see ahead, there's some green. I expect that to be the where it drops into the main here, but I could be wrong. Again, there's some separation here. A little bit of intrusion. There's some water coming in from the top there. And then this, it's like I'm falling into the main, but I'm going to stop here, get a locate to verify where we are, and see if this is, it looks like this is a tap into the main though. So those other positions may be on public property, may not be the homeowner's issue. Okay. Alright, so we did make it all the way to the main. I'm looking into it at an angle. It's about 10 foot deep. And so these couple other connections here before the main may be something worth having inspected by the sewer department. Because again, as I pull back, you'll be able to see. Let me turn the locator off. Well, I am going to locate these other spots just to see where they are in relation to the property line. But if we pull back, you see that one. If I am at, see, if I'm here at about 53, 54 feet here, we'll come back and see about how far back from the main we are. And probably about, about a 3.5 foot there. So there's one 3-foot section. Here's 2 sections. 3 sections. And 4. So it does look like what they were doing is they were just turning the pipe. So this could have been, I mean, this could have been this way for 60, 70 years. Who knows? Like I've said, it doesn't look like there's any solids here built up, but I will say get a locate here in between here and the main, maybe something that's may want to have looked at by the city just to if there are any problems in the future, that they can look at this and find out if it's even on the homeowner's property, because I believe this will be probably about the curb. It's about 12 feet, so about 4 connections. They're 3-foot sections if you do the math. But yeah, so I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop here for a second and go ahead and get a locate. Okay, so we located that right at the edge of the sidewalk in the front yard. It looks to me like there's some undermining going on underneath the edge of the sidewalk and the edge of the property there. Something to definitely take note of, and possibly contact SD1 and see if they can come out and take a look at this so that the sidewalk doesn't collapse at some point. It does look like there's a void underneath it partially, between the yard and the sidewalk. Like I said, the line is about 6.5 feet deep to the top of the pipe, so it doesn't look like I'm seeing a bunch of stuff in the pipe, so it must be escaping pretty well into the main. But the groundwater is drawing dirt and the earth underneath or around the pipe into the pipe and causing a void there underneath the sidewalk. So we're gonna pull this back here, and as you can see, that's how the water is hitting it. It's overtaking these connections, and it looks like there's enough pitch on it here that it's not, there wasn't a bunch of debris in there causing a backup, but I would be concerned definitely about that void there underneath the sidewalk. You want to have that looked at. I mean, structurally, for the most part, the line looked really good. I don't see a whole bunch of cracks or anything, but I think the way that they turn those connections down to get to the main, it gave them a lot of pitch, so there's not really any backup, but it did cause some voids there, which is I think the main issue. Okay, we're back here in the PVC, which means we'll be coming up the stack here and finishing up the inspection. All this will be in my report also, with just a recommendation again to contact the sewer department to have that spot between the edge of the property and the main looked at, see if there's something that they want to correct. But that's the end of the inspection at 936 York Street in Covington, Kentucky.